The first shot in a deliberate war for my home. The security video I recorded that day would unspool a decade of neighborhood dictatorship, climaxing in a midnight standoff, seen millions of times online. Purchasing my dream home was meant to be a victory, not a leap into a suburban hellhole of intimidation, fraud, and vendetta. This is how I took down the HOA dictator who felt she was above the law, fueling a debate that still rages through the neighborhood. 3 months ago, I realized my dream of homeownership after decades of scrimping. I discovered a three-bedroom colonial on Elm Street on the edge of the Meadowview Estates HOE border. I'd selected it specifically battered by a micromanaging apartment manager who'd made my life miserable. My home needed repairs, new paint landscaping, but it was mine free of HOA dicta. The neighborhood was Norman Rockwell, perfect oak-lined streets, neatly manicured lawns, small-town charm and proximity to the city. I spent my first weekend brainstorming improvements, basking in the liberation to paint my front door a deep red, a decision that would soon start a firestorm on day 2. The doorbell rang. Margaret Ellison. The HOA president greeted me, blonde hair, perfect designer shades perched on top, holding a welcome basket. "We're thrilled to have you," she said, her smile unfriendly. She handed me a 27-page HOA guide citing monthly fees. I explained, "My property's outside your borders. That's why I purchased it." Her smile quivered. "There's a misapprehension. All Elm Street homes fall under our jurisdiction. I sold this property to the previous owners." I stood my ground, referencing my attorney's border check. Margaret's attitude hardened. "Review your documents?" "The previous owners prized community standards." Her eyes darted to my red door, disapproval palpable as she departed. She added, "Outs often find trouble here." The threat was understated but unambiguous. The basket contained more than cookies. It was a passive-aggressive rulebook with door colors highlighted for approval. Nervous, I installed security cameras that night. My neighbor George Ramsey, a retired attorney, cautioned me. "Margaret's bad news," he said. "She drove out your predecessors with code violations and rumors. Your corner lot's a gateway she's obsessed with controlling." He nearly lost his home to her over a $75 fee that ballooned to $3,000. "Change your garage code," he urged. "She keeps remotes from houses she sold." I did, sensing I'd stumbled into a power struggle. 2 weeks passed quietly, lulling me into thinking George exaggerated. Then on a Thursday, I returned from a quick errand to find my garage open. A white Tesla Model X parked inside. A note on HOA letterhead claimed temporary parking rights for repaving. No repaving was happening. The car with a vanity plate reading Hope held a designer bag and a compliance folder. A coffee ring stained my workbench. Scion had made themselves at home. My mailbox held a backdated notice on postmark footage, showed Margaret opening my garage with a remote parking and leaving with a smirk, furious. I called the police officer. Tom Bradley arrived, reviewed the footage inside. "It's a civil matter unless there's damage file. A trespassing report, document everything and get a lawyer." He hinted at Margaret's cloud. "She's tight with the mayor." We get HOA calls monthly. As he left, Margaret pulled up, remote in hand. I confronted her, showing the video. She didn't flinch. "HO bylaws allow resource use during projects. Your garage protects my car from debris." I snapped, "I'm not in your HOA. You kept a remote illegally. This is trespassing." She smirked. "You're confused about your status. Cooperation's easier driving out." I glimpsed listing photos of my house in her car. She wasn't just asserting control. She wanted my property. I changed the code, added cameras, and confirmed my lot was outside HOA bounds. George revealed Margaret's history of targeting non-HOA homes, forcing 3 into her control Friday. My cameras pinged during a work call. 2 Teslas, Margaret's and a black Model 3, pulled into my garage. Margaret and her niece Lauren took selfies. Laughing audio caught Margaret lying. "This is HOA parking. He's gone all weekend." Lauren, hesitant, asked, "Won't they mind?" Margaret scoffed. "He's problematic, like the last owner's unapproved door. My property values are at risk." They left a basket with wine, a rule book, and a $25 gift card for compliant mailbox numbers. Lauren's purr scratched my car as she squeezed past. Oblivious, George confirmed Lauren, fresh from a breakup, worked remotely for a tech firm. Margaret's using her. He said she did this to the Johnsons storing equipment in their shed until they sold cheap my lot's visibility, fueled Margaret's obsession. I sent a cease-and-desist letter certified. Her reply was a forged map claiming my house was HOA territory, citing emergency covenants. George said she's been fudging boundaries for years. Most cave, I wouldn't. I befriended neighbors. Meeting Ellen Carter. A reluctant HOA board member at a cafe, she shared a blog documenting Margaret's abuses, fake minutes, selective fines, even hiring a PI detail to center. She's controlled everything since her divorce. Ellen said, "Your lot's her next conquest." She gave me legal boundary records and evidence of Margaret bribing neighbors with landscaping grants to isolate me. My attorney warned she'll escalate. He was right. Landscapers hired by Margaret's cousin's firm hacked my oak tree claiming I'd approved it. Audio proved Margaret lied. Then a fake real estate listing for my house appeared online, undervalued with doctored photos. An IRS letter accused me of unreported rental income. Criminal fraud. Margaret was spreading rumors of code violations and tax evasion. Watching my visitors through loyal informants, I'd expose corporate fraud before I could handle Margaret. I upgraded security with hidden cameras, door sensors, and alerts I posted publicly about a weekend trip leaving a garage remote visible. I stayed at George's, his guest room overlooking my driveway, streaming live to ex-colleagues as witnesses. Friday at 7 p.m., Margaret's SUV arrived. She entered my garage, parking her Tesla, followed by Lawrence Audio, captured Margaret's plot. "He's gone once he's out this lots." They knocked over my tool cabinet, leaving it. Margaret bragged about ousting the last owners by disrupting their kids' sleep Saturday. They treated my garage like a lounge, washing their cars with my host by Sunday. I had hours of damning video. I set up the trap for 6 p.m. Sunday, when they'd parked their cars, I called Officer Bradley for a follow-up at 555 George, and I parked across the street. Margaret and Lauren showed up, entering my garage. Bradley's cruiser pulled up, catching them off guard. I stepped out, impeccable timing. Officer Margaret's shock turned to bravado. "We have parking rights," Lauren stuttered. Margaret protested. It was approved. I showed Bradley the tape playing Margaret's voice. "Get him off the property is ours," her face pad. Ellen showed up with 2 board members announcing Margaret's suspension for financial embezzlement. "You're not the HOA," Ellen declared. Margaret exploded. No quorum. The board denied her the Andersons. My predecessors showed up, sharing their harassment. Neighbors gathered in shock. Margaret accused me of hoaxing evidence, libeled the Andersons, and raved about outsiders. Lauren, embarrassed, apologized, offering to pay for my car scratches. Bradley issued Margaret a trespassing warning and flagged her for fun abuse at 2:15 a.m. My phone shrilled. Margaret's brother-in-law's tow truck was hooking up my car with her directing, claiming HOA authority. I confronted them, proof in hand. Neighbors, awakened by the commotion, showed up with George and Ellen. Margaret's meltdown was epic, spewing fake infractions and personal gossip about residents. "I built this place," she wept, Lauren appalled. Led her away. Police documented the fraud attempt. Margaret was put on probation for trespassing and fraud for having her real estate license. Suspended audits revealed her siphoning HOA funds for her Tesla and landscaping. Ellen's reforms nailed down boundaries and audits. I started a site helping HOA victims, gaining momentum 6 months later. Margaret's house was for sale. Her Tesla gone. The neighborhood controversies, my roll maker. My red door stands tall. My garage, my George parked there once during a storm. Real neighbor stuff. Ellen's HOA prospers. But I remain free. Justice wasn't revenge. It was uncovering truth, letting Margaret's arrogance sign her demise.